Hey guys, this is Pervious1030 with Tin Can Gardener, and it is the first month of 2000 or first day of 2015. First month, first day. Um, Figured I'd do a video while it was still quiet. I tried to shoot a video earlier, and I was on there bragging about how nobody bothers me this early in the morning. My phone rings. Go figure. So got that shut down so I could do this properly. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning here. Well, let's see here. In the greenhouse, I got my tomato plants are getting about a foot, probably a little higher than that. My first batch. I think I'm going to stop growing tomatoes whenever my white tomassals get a little bit bigger. The reason why I'm looking up is because there's a tree frog and it's on top of my tarp, and there he is. Okay, so if y'all see a tree frog jump down behind me, it's Kermit. I'm gonna call this thing Kermit. Really cool looking dude. I have been harvesting a lot of tomatoes. My my turnips did not do so well. Sorry about this. I gotta move around a little bit. Where did he go? There he is. My turnips did not do so well this year, so I just took them out and got rid of them. I don't have enough space to, leave them in and see what they're gonna do and all that. I have enough seed to where I'm not worried about it. My carrots, my black Spanish carrots, those are pretty interesting, but carrots, as you know, you have to leave them in for 2 seasons to get seeds, so I gotta mess with those. Let's see here. What else? Been getting peppers, jalapenos, and I do believe that I got a Big Jim chili out there. It looks like an Anaheim. I replanted some kale where my turnips were. My corn is tasseling. The peas did okay. They're producing enough for seed. What else? Been getting a lot of lettuce seeds. Which is a good thing. I took down the hydroponic system because it was not doing what it was supposed to be doing, and the bugs and mosquitoes were getting in there, and they were utilizing it as a breeding facility, which is never a good thing, so I had to get rid of that. I'm going to try running some downspouts with holes drilled in them for an NFT. I'm going to just do lettuce, probably bib bunching type, maybe a little bit of this red heirloom I got. But I'm not going to try to overdo it. I'm going to try to keep the system as sealed up as possible so I don't get a lot of bugs and stuff. What else? Trying to grow some peppers in here, and that's going to probably be my last seed that I do. Because I was going to try to grow a few vines. I got a couple cantaloupe plants, but the melons I was trying to grow, they're an heirloom type, and they didn't take, so I'm going to try it again another time, not right now. Cantaloupes. I got cantaloupes. I got to get rid of these cantaloupes before they start going crazy. They need to be transplanted. I don't think I want to do another batch of cantaloupes. I might not. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind on that yet. I usually don't because they're very aggressive growers. They can choke stuff out if you don't pay attention. And give them a designated spot. Usually I just put mine on a trellis or something. That way I can look at the fruit, because what had happened was the ones that I grew, the fruit, I wasn't paying very close attention to one of the fruits, and it had little tiny pinholes in it. And what came of that is I went to go grab my melon the one day, and it mushed in my hand, and something was smelling like it was rotten anyways, so I couldn't figure that out. So if you get in near any of your fruiting plants and you smell something rotting, start checking all your fruit, because worms, bugs lay eggs. You know, that's why I like to, every morning I like to look at my fruit, check all around it, especially something like cantaloupe, because you put a lot of work into that. You know, check all around it, make sure that there's no bugs laying eggs. Check under the leaves. If you see a lot of ants on your cantaloupe plants, then there's probably a pickle worm somewhere laying eggs, or some other worm. For some reason, they like whenever the pickle worm goes to the bathroom, the ants go up there and they take the excrement and they carry it off for the nutritional value. So I didn't know that. I had to look that up. So a little FYI. I always watch for ants on my plants, and whenever I do see them, if they're just running a line, I'll check the leaves to make sure that there's nothing underneath my leaves. Because your leaves will get like pinched together, kind of like it's folded. You need to check those because it's probably a pickle worm and it's cocooned itself in under the leaf of your plant. Let's see here, what else do I got going on? Composting is composting. The beefsteaks that I took off of the parent plant, those tomatoes look totally different. People are still letting off fireworks. Totally, they're more of a beefier looking tomato than just round cylindrical tomatoes. It's really interesting to watch how the cuttings from the mother plant does totally different. It's really insane to see how how it goes back to its like almost its natural state, because that plant was stressed, so it's not throwing fruit like it's supposed to be, flowering beautifully, and that sort of thing, but it's stressed, so it's not producing the way it should. I did, however, try to cross a ugly right or a cat-faced tomato and one of these beefsteaks, so we'll see what happens with that. I like messing with tomatoes as far as crossing them. I'm just playing around and seeing what I come up with, nothing too scientifical. Oh, this is what I'm going to show you guys. This is my Jersey Giant. This is going to be a saucing tomato. And if you look at the leaves on this thing, they look a little droopy, a little sad, and the plant doesn't need watered or nothing. It's actually well watered. It's just the type of plant that it is. It's going to be different than, here's another saucing tomato. But if you look at the leaves, they look like totally different. Again, I did a video the other day and I was saying how you can, if you've been gardening for a long time, you can kind of look at a tomato plant and tell somebody kind of what they're looking at. Like with Romas, they get really fat up at the top of the stem, where the new growth is fatter than most plants do. Cherry tomatoes, you just know a cherry tomato whenever you see one. They got the little leaves, they're very petite, but they grow like crazy. You know, a big giant potato leaf type tomato is obviously going to have potato leaves, which is, it looks like a potato leaf. Most of your big ones are going to take a lot longer too. Whenever I plant tomatoes, what I like to do is I like to do a few different types. I like my cherry tomatoes. Those are always good for midsummer munching or winter, wherever you're at in the world. Your early types, your Amanas, your Amana Amishes, your, all your early girls, all that stuff, all your early variety of tomato that can take the colder climates, if you can get them flowering by February, well, March, depending on where you're at, about March, April. If you can get them starting to flower and like have enough weather, decent weather, to where you can actually get them, in a greenhouse or outside. Again, depending on your geographics, you could have some pretty decent tomatoes by the end of April, May area. And then I do a secondary crop of like 75-day big boys, or better boys, or something like that. Something like a mid-range time tomato. But I always have my long-term crop, which is like the black crims, the Kellogg's, all the big giant beefsteaks that you see. Uh, what else? Trying to think if there's any other tomato. No, I can't really think of them. Pretty much the bigger they are, the longer they're going to take. And then you have your prolific growers, which are going to produce a lot of tomatoes. And then you have your ones that aren't going to produce a lot of tomatoes, but they're going to produce some big ones. If you're trying to grow big tomatoes and you're seeing the flowers like bunching together, don't mess with it. That's going to be your biggest tomato. It's whenever those flower clusters come together and they form giant flowers. And if you have a couple different flowers on there with that big one, take those off, leave that big one. That's how you produce a big tomato. You make it to where it doesn't have to fight for nutrients, light, or anything like that, and just let it get as big as possible. Make sure that you stake it, of course, because they will fall off, and critters will try to eat it and everything else, because it'll be the only tomato that everything tries to eat. It just happens like that. I don't know why. Tomatoes are pretty easy for anyone to grow. I think everybody tries growing tomatoes. I do the same thing with my peppers as well. I'll have different age ranges, so to speak, of peppers. Like a couple hot ones, nothing stupid hot, but like jalapenos, things like that. A lot of sweet peppers. Yeah, just for really like an early garden, I would plant like lettuce, radishes, uh, anything that can take the cold early in the season and is quick, because you don't want to be trying to plant certain things that early, because it just won't work out. So things that grow fast, like your radishes, your lettuces, greens, kale, things like that can tolerate the cold. And then you go into your warmer season crops, and about that time you can plant your Brussels sprouts and cabbages, because by the time it's cold and wintry again, getting to be winter again, those things are going to blossom and well, not blossom, but really be hardy at that time. And then you could probably squeeze in another crop of lettuce and radishes and cold weather crops, so you can get another crop of those out. And like I said, if you're fortunate enough to have a greenhouse, you utilize it, because I mean, for a couple light bulbs and a fan, you're gonna have some tomatoes for year round. It's working for me, but then again, I'm in South Florida, so a little bit different there. Whenever you're not having to fight the cold, here we fight the heat. Totally different subject. If I come out in this greenhouse and I'm not out here in the morning trying to get these plants watered, I'll come out to a bunch of dead plants, because it'll easily jump to 110, 120 degrees in here. So it's like you got to be up and moving for these types of things, or you will decimate your whole crop. Other than that, I've just been doing the gardening thing, trying to produce my seeds and get all that done. I've been collecting some lettuce seeds. My corn's tasseling, which is a really good thing. I had to hand pollinate it, but I'm getting me some corn out of that thing one way or the other. It really gave me a scare there, because I had a bad bug infestation. I dealt with it, fought with it. I just want an ear of corn. I'm not trying to get, a bumper crop. I just want a couple ears of corn for seed. As long as they're pretty good, genetically good of the parent, then I'll be happy. Other than that, I ain't got much, guys. You can go have a look at the garden, but I think I already did a video yesterday on that, and it's really wet outside, so I really don't want to be walking around in the mud. However, I might do another video later on today with everything out there once it dries up. So, till next time, this is Pervious 1030 with the Tin Can Gardener. Happy New Year. Have fun gardening in 2015. Teach somebody else how to garden. If anybody out there has some seeds they want to trade, throw me a message. Rate, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a great day. Alright, talk to you guys later.